Sandy helped me to notice that on 10/10/2010, we're doing the story of the 10 lepers, which I think, what are the odds? What are the odds of that? But that's the case for us today. Now, on the way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And so your first fill in the blank is, Jesus was going to Jerusalem when he was called upon by a group of people. If you've ever been approached for help when you were in motion, you can understand what it's like for Jesus pretty much on a constant basis throughout the Gospels. If you have ever been getting ready in the morning and trying to pull all your things together as a little one intercepts you and wants some little thing, then you can understand what it's like for him. If you have ever been completely engaged in your work, you have to leave your office, go down the hall to get something from the community printer, and someone says, "Hey, can you help me just for 1 second? Can you come in and do this thing?" When I was serving tables and I had my 5 tables that I was in charge of, much less taking care of them, when somebody else said, "Hey, do you think you can bring more tea to those 3 tables over there? One's sweet and one's unsweet, and these people like it mixed together." And you think, how am I going to help you when I am going in my own direction? Well, you can understand what Jesus' entire ministry was about. He was constantly, when he fed people on a consistent basis, he was trying to get away for a quiet time. Do you think the people let him have some quiet time, just a little space to himself? No. They pursued him with everything that they had because they were in such pain. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to be healed. And they wanted to learn. Some people just wanted to see something cool, and they pursued it. And so he rarely had that time, and this is one of those particular perfect instances. His patience in each one of those stories, and in this story as well, is a model for what our patience should be when we're in motion in one direction and asked for help. Now, the second fill in the blank is really important. The people did not approach Jesus because they were accustomed to being separated from everyone. So, under that system, the people who needed help the most were pushed the furthest away. Now, if that is the model for any gathering congregation, if that's the model for any religious group, that group will be living pretty much in the exact opposite of what Jesus would have them to be. The people who needed it the most were absolutely separated, told by society they were not wanted, that they did not want to be seen, heard of, much less touched. I'm assuming it's been the rare occasion that you have felt this sort of pain, and in most cases it was probably for your own protection or somebody else. We got chicken pox. You're isolated. You've got the flu. You're isolated. Well, try having that condition for a number of days, weeks, months, years, completely isolated. The thought process of the religious leaders and the people of that time who were trying to follow God was, don't touch anything unclean. Nothing. Because if you touch something unclean, then you'll be separating yourself from God. It started out as sort of a good thing. This nation, this group, this people, they believed in any sorts of things. Just don't interact with them. As a parent, you tell the child, don't interact with the people who are doing whatever dumb thing those people are doing. You hope that the child won't be influenced. As an adult on New Year's Eve, you don't really want to be on the road. Let's just stay home. Let's have an easy time. Let's stay away from the people who are making super bad decisions. But it went far, far beyond that to a place where people who were in real pain were completely isolated. It had progressed or regressed, might be the better word, to a policy of ignoring those people. I can't touch you, so I can't help you, so you're just kind of stuck there in prison, in isolation. Now, I would suggest that our society can't possibly understand the seriousness of not touching to remain clean, but a time spent in schools and in hospitals recently suggests that we're coming close. We are obsessed with hand sanitizer. And I know ministers now that don't shake hands on the way out the door. They've just grown up in a place where they think, I'm, bow or hey, pump the fist, the shotgun. But whatever they do, not to touch one another. And if you do touch one another, I have other minister friends who try to be, they try to be friendly to the people that feel that way and wash their hands before communion. Just try to be respectful of that sort of thing. So while we don't do it to stay close to God, we can sort of understand the way this society is going of not touching each other as much. Now, so these 10 men are outside the city, and you better stay out there, and we don't want to hear from you. We don't want to touch you until Jesus comes along, which is where our scripture picks up. When he saw them, he said, "Go show yourselves to the priests." And they went. They were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. We'll stay right there. Sometimes you go through something with a certain group of people that pulls you so tightly together that you will never forget it. And you will never separate yourself from those people from having gone through it. Whether it was a great joy, whether it was a great loss, whether it was a great event, whatever it is, it draws you close together. This is not one of these times. These 10 were together, but immediately following it, they were gone. Not to see each other again. And one of them especially, the Samaritan. Now, not only do we have a group of marginalized people, 10 people over here that can't interact with society, those 10 people have told one person, we don't want to interact with you either. So you're isolated amongst the 10 over here on the far side of town, and not only are you that, the other 9 have said, we don't want to talk to you either. And when they are healed, only one comes back. Only one person comes back, and that's your next fill in the blank. 10 people are healed, and only one comes back.